Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, and welcome back to another episode of Ask the Alima with me, your host, Alima Naeema. So thrilled to be here. I hope everybody had the most amazing Eid, spending time with family, eating good food, doing the good deeds, inshallah, and observing the sunnahs of Eid. So it's good to be back for a live episode this week. So if you do have any questions, send them in. I know we have a few questions that we had from our previous week when we were live, so I will be answering them inshallah towards the end of the show. I will be talking about some really interesting topics, things that have come up for some people, and I'm going to be talking about the topic of istikhara today. So istikhara is the Arabic word for asking guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And many of us have done istikhara so many times in our lives, especially when it comes to the most common one is marriage, asking Allah to guide us when it comes to looking for a spouse to help us make the right decisions. So I want to talk a little bit about istikhara, helping you understand what it is, what we use it for, get rid of any misconceptions that we may have. But as well, if you have any other questions that aren't in regards to today's topic, send them in. I'm always happy to answer them. And it's always great to hear from you all because you guys make this show what it is. I love answering your questions. I love hearing what you all have to say. So let's get started. So a long time ago, when I was younger, I used to see people doing istikhara, praying the dua of istikhara, performing salah, going to sleep, waiting to have a dream that Allah guides them in their dream to go towards a certain decision. Now, I used to see people mainly do it when it comes to marriage. So I'm sure so many of us have done this before getting married. It's like one of those things that we do. We ask Allah, especially when it comes to such a huge decision like marrying somebody, to ask Allah to guide us towards what is right. And that is the most beautiful thing to do because at the end of the day, Allah is the one who can guide us. Allah knows us best. Allah knows what's good for us. And it is very, very important to ask Allah for guidance even before we ask others for guidance. So I want to touch up on that matter first. We don't actually need to do istikhara only for marriage. There's so many other things that we can do istikhara for, whether it's big or small, whether it's something that is so insignificant, you can still ask Allah for guidance. But what we're asking for in istikhara is asking Allah for goodness to guide us towards something that is good for us. So it could be as something as simple as buying a new pair of shoes from the shop, or something big like going for a new job opportunity, moving country, all of those big things. Yeah, that makes sense. But what we often forget is that we can actually ask Allah to guide us and grant us goodness in the small matters. That could be, shall I buy a new pair of shoes? Shall I choose go away on holiday on this date or that date? So many things. I'm just giving you random examples there, but you know best when we can use istikhara in our day-to-day. And what we can do is we can make a habit of asking Allah for guidance, because that's such a beautiful thing. We're literally saying to Allah that I trust you to guide me in the best way possible. And of course we trust Allah. Allah loves us. Allah knows us. Allah created us. He knows what's in our heart. He knows us better than our own parents know us. Our own mother knows us. He knows us better than we know ourselves. So obviously it makes sense to ask Allah for guidance. So this is something that I want to work on this week, inshallah. Hopefully this is something that we can all work on together collectively, is asking Allah for guidance in the smaller matters, because as humans, we tend to have this thing that, I know it all, I know what's best for me, especially if you are a person who's got good confidence in yourself. That's amazing. But sometimes we need to humble ourselves and think we have confidence within ourselves and our decisions, and that comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's really important to keep ourselves grounded, because we can let ego get involved and think, I always make great decisions for myself, but Allah's given us that ability to make decisions for ourselves. So one habit that I want to do today is, I'm not saying that you have to say the whole istikhara dua and perform 2 rakats, do wudu, be in a state of wudu. Obviously, there's so many sunnahs of doing istikhara in the correct way, which is amazing, and I'll touch up on that soon. But what I want to talk about today is asking Allah simply, very quickly, just like it could be at the tip of your tongue, Allah, give me goodness in this. Allah, guide me through this. And this is a really, really special way of asking Allah for his assistance every single day and guiding you to the best decisions. And this is how we will be rightly guided, inshallah, when we ask Allah to give that to us, instead of saying, oh, remaining in a state of confusion. And so let's talk more about what happens when you do istikhara. I'll talk more about the sunnahs of istikhara in a second. But what people do get confused about is, when they do istikhara, they're almost waiting for a sign, a huge sign. They go to sleep, they expect to see a dream. Some people do see dreams, like especially if you're going to bed and you're thinking about, the matter that you've done istikhara about, you can go to sleep, you can have a dream, that's absolutely fine. But some people don't get dreams. So I don't want you to ever feel like your istikhara isn't working because you haven't seen a dream, or Allah hasn't resolved that or helped you come to a conclusion in your dream. Because a lot of people get worried, like, did I do it right? Did I do it wrong? Why haven't I seen anything? Istikhara can just be your gut feeling, a feeling that comes after you do the istikhara. Okay, so if you get a chance, I would, I'm giving you all homework here, but it's good to, refresh our knowledge and do more research. I want you to all have a look at the istikhara dua. You can Google it and look at the translation. Please make sure it's from an authentic source. So look at the translation of it. And inside the istikhara dua, we're literally asking Allah to make the good easy for us. Because what will happen is, if you've done istikhara, let's use the normal example of getting married. And we've done istikhara. We really, like a guy, he really likes this girl. She's gorgeous, she's beautiful, he ticks all the boxes. He does istikhara. Okay. Now, he may be feeling like, oh yeah, this is going great. I've done istikhara, everything's going well. But what happens after that is things become very, very difficult. Things start popping up, situations start arising that that's making getting married to this person really hard. This could be Allah's way of steering you away from something, even though you may be feeling that this is a good decision for me. So how does that make sense? Shouldn't Allah change your heart? Now, this is what I want you to understand, which is so important. Sometimes we want something. We get attached to something. I could say, I really want to buy a new house and I want it to be this house, and I do istikhara and this house seems perfect. So I'm attached to it. My heart has become attached to that house. So when I do istikhara, naturally, I'm going to feel that same attachment, and I won't be listening to the, the small whispers, the gut feeling that I have, because I'm so attracted to something that I think I want. So sometimes when you're when you do istikhara, you do have to take a step back and think, have I got a small whisper? Is there a whisper there that's saying there may be something not good about this? Or is it becoming harder for me to attain this after I've done the istikhara? Because truly, we think that we know that something's good. We think that something is good for us, but really and truly, there may be something that Allah is protecting us from. And it's really important that we listen to the gut feeling, because the gut feeling is very, very important. Now, when it comes to gut feeling, you'll get people who are always superstitious, always doubting. I'm not talking about that, because doubts are from shaitan. Shaitan will always come and whisper things in your ears, and he will divert you, and he'll always make you doubt your decisions. All I'm saying here is you need to find a middle ground. Do your istikhara, trust that Allah's got your back, and hope for the best, but obviously listen to that gut feeling. Okay. Now, when you are always doubting your decisions, you can never make a decision, because you get people like that. You get people who are so indecisive and they can never make a decision, and they're never doing anything, never moving, because they're always scared. Know that fear is not from istikhara. Is due to our own insecurities, our lack of confidence within ourselves, the lack of confidence that we have, knowing that Allah is going to have our back. Sometimes there'll be things that we're afraid of. Fear is loud. Fear is very loud. We can feel fear. Like, I'm scared of starting this business. It seems really scary. It's out of my comfort zone. That is loud, but the gut feeling is like a whisper, and it's really important to learn to tune into that, because we live in a world where we're so crowded by everybody's ideas, thoughts, opinions, advice, that we stop listening to ourselves and the gut feeling, the feelings that come to our heart, because because it just doesn't make, it gets all clouded, and we don't listen to our heart anymore. Listening to your heart is the best thing, really and truly, because the things that come to heart is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah will protect you if you ask for guidance. So it's really important. So there's lots of things that people may have questions about, like, for example, well, I done istikhara for something and it was so terrible. It was the most awful thing. I got married and I done istikhara and it ended up in a divorce. So how could that possibly have happened? So I do want to talk about that in more detail, inshallah. But I do want to say that istikhara, yes, remember, we're asking Allah to give us good in something, but sometimes even us as humans, we cannot see the good in it until later. So anything that brings us closer to Allah has goodness in it. So maybe somebody did get married and they did do istikhara beforehand and everything seemed fine and it all fell into place, yet that couple still got divorced. What's that all about? Well, maybe that divorce was a way of bringing somebody else your way. Maybe that divorce taught you more lessons that would better equip you for another marriage. Maybe that divorce taught you things or built you up in a way that makes you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Maybe you needed to connect with Allah through that divorce. Whatever it was, there could be goodness in so many things, even the things when we think, oh, Ya Allah, why is this happening to me? Why am I getting hit with this trial, this tribulation? Because at the end of the day, we may like something that isn't good for us, and we may not like something that Allah knows is good for us as well. So it's really important to keep this in mind. What we think is happening, like sometimes we feel Allah is punishing me, Allah does not have my back, Allah is really testing me in ways that he wants to break me. That's not true. Allah wants to keep you close to him. And sometimes it can mean, actually all the time, it means that we do need to find Allah through these situations that we're put in. And when things are going too good and you're never getting tested, then that's the time we should get worried, because we're thinking, why isn't Allah testing us? Why are things so easy? Because through our tests and trials, that's where we do find Allah. We shouldn't just expect things to be plain sailing and we think, oh, Allah loves me because things are plain sailing. Of course Allah loves you. Allah loves you anyway. But also know that Allah loves you through the trials. He loves you through the tribulations. He loves you through your blessings. So this is a really important thing to keep in mind. So inshallah, after the break, I'm going to talk more about the feelings that come with istikhara, how we do istikhara, all of those good things. But if you do have any questions, don't forget to send them in so I can answer them live on our show today, inshallah. And I hope, remember, all the questions are anonymous, and I will catch you all after the break, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. So I hope everyone's enjoying the episode so far, and I hope we are getting, we're thinking more about istikhara and how we ask Allah for his guidance in our day-to-day life, and thinking about all the times that we have done istikhara. So sometimes it's good to think about all the time you've asked Allah for guidance and think about where you were after that. Okay? Like sometimes we don't look at how far we've come. We don't always look at how far we've come. We don't think about what Allah has maybe moved out our way or put in our way to save us or to help us excel in certain areas of our life. Like things sometimes can be really easy, but we forget to turn around and say to Allah, Allah, thank you for making this easy for me. So it's really important that we have this connection with Allah. We connect to Allah through our day-to-day activities. Connecting with Allah isn't just sitting on the prayer mat and making dua. It is so much more than that. We can make dua. You can make a dua a part of your lifestyle when you're walking, when you're talking, when you are simply thinking. You can just be thinking thoughts where remember, Allah hears it all. He knows what's in your heart. He knows the thoughts that are going through your mind. So this is really a huge, important thing that we can start to implement slowly, and we can get into the habit of this. And when we get into a habit of this, then it just becomes natural to turn to Allah through daily activities. When something's stressing you out, turn to Allah. Allah, make things easy for me. When something is troubling you, Allah, grant me ease. So this is how we do connect with Allah, and we make asking from Allah a part of our life. Now, what we sometimes think is that Allah is going to be stingy and selfish, because that's what we know of humans. If you think about it like this, when we ask humans for things, we can ask them once or twice and we feel a bit embarrassed. Like, if I go again and ask, then they may feel like I'm really needy, or they may feel like, you know, they don't want to give me whatever I'm asking for. So we hold back. But with Allah, it's different. Allah wants to give us. He loves it when we express our neediness to Him. And He loves it when we go to Him and we ask Him for guidance, because Allah wants to do that for us. So I do want to touch up more on istikhara. Before I get into the method and how we do it, I just want to mention that the story of Yusuf alayhi salam. So when Yaqub alayhi salam, when his sons asked, can I take Yusuf alayhi salam into can we take him? And he was really scared. He was worried, and he was like, oh, he had a gut feeling. Even though he knew he couldn't do anything about it, there was a little fear there in his heart that I feel that something bad may happen to him. So this was from Allah. He knew there was a gut feeling there. So this is why it didn't make sense. Logically, it was like, no, well, he'll be fine. He's with his brothers. And it made sense, like, you know, but this is where instead of, you know, he sent Yusuf alayhi salam, but that is exactly what happened. He got eaten by, he said, I fear that he may be eaten by a wolf. So he had a fear there. He had a gut feeling there. So do you see how Allah sometimes gives us these gut feelings to guide us? Sometimes it may not make logical sense. Like something like, you know, this person may tick all the right boxes. This house may be perfect for me. It looks perfect for me. So I'm going to go for it. And we don't listen to the tiny little whisper that Allah sends our way. But really and truly, when we listen to that gut feeling, that is where we will find success, inshallah. Okay, so let's get into how to do istikhara. So istikhara is a sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did do istikhara. He asked Allah for guidance. And if you want to do it in, you know, the way of the sunnah, then you should do wudu. You say the dua of istikhara. So you perform 2 rakats. And it doesn't really matter when you do it. It doesn't have to be like in the night. It can be whenever. And this is how you perform istikhara. So in the dua of istikhara, okay, this is your homework. Go have a look at the dua of istikhara. But there will be a part that says hadha al-amri, where you will think about the thing that you want guidance and counsel in. So hadha al-amri basically means in this matter. So I ask Allah to guide me in this matter. So that is where you'll be thinking about the matter that you want guidance in. So that is really important as well. So you're actually thinking, this is what I want guidance in, and you put your mind to it. It's really good to be in the correct headspace for istikhara as well. Don't just do it where, you know, you're thinking all sorts. Really connect to Allah in that time. Really hand over the affair to Allah. And what you can do to help you get the best out of your istikhara is try your best to remove any attachment that you have to that thing already, and let Allah guide you. Literally let Allah guide you, because if you're so hung up on that thing, then you may get confused in what is Allah's guidance and what is your attachment to that thing. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to touch up on is asking other people to do istikhara for you. This is against sunnah. You shouldn't be asking other people to do istikhara for you. Something that is very common that has come up for so many people is that I don't trust myself to do istikhara because I'm not pious enough, I'm not practicing enough. I know that this other person, this other knowledgeable person, this student of knowledge or this teacher, they have a better connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so I'm going to tell them to do istikhara for me because it may be more successful. That's not true at all. The istikhara should come for you. You're asking guidance from Allah. You are worthy of connecting with Allah. You should do that because you know best. You can listen to those own feeling. You listen to your own heart better than what anyone else can. Okay, asking another person to do istikhara is like you're saying that I'm not trusting my connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But really, that is something that we should trust. We should trust our connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you're feeling like I'm too sinful to do istikhara, then make tawbah. Ask Allah for forgiveness, do istighfar beforehand, because at the end of the day, it is something that we should ponder over, because sometimes we live our whole life not in accordance to our religion, not in accordance to what Islam wants for us, what Allah wants for us, And then when it comes to making big decisions, we turn to Allah and we're asking Allah, guide us. So we do need to be wary that we're not just turning to Allah. Well, there's nothing wrong with turning to Allah, but that we are living our life in accordance to what Allah wants for us. And then we ask Allah for guidance, because we can't be like clubbing, drinking on the weekend and doing drugs. And then when it comes to buying a house, you're like, Allah, guide me now. Because it's like, you need to, if you want to feel Allah's guidance in your life, then you're going to have to strive to live a life that is in accordance to what Allah wants for us, not what we want for us, because this world is full of temporary distractions and so much fitna. And yeah, all those things may seem glamorous, like doing haram, buying things with haram money, earning haram money, and all those things may seem like, yeah, the easy way out. But if it's not in accordance to Allah, what Allah wants for us, and when it comes to making another big decision, will Allah guide us through this now, then it is like, it's a bit like, we need to reflect on that. Those are things that we need to reflect over. So yes, ask Allah for guidance. You don't need, you should actually not ask other people to do your istikhara for you. But however, on this note, you can tell people to make dua for you. Get into the habit of telling people to make dua for you, because at the end of the day, you never know whose dua is answered. And especially those who are traveling, those who are sick, those who are, those who are, we don't know who's close to Allah. Children, I always tell my children to make dua for me, tell them to make dua for things, because they're innocent, they're free of sin, and inshallah their du'as will be answered. So tell people to make dua for you, but when it comes to asking guidance from Allah and you're asking Allah to guide you, you should do that yourself. So I'm gonna get through some questions that we had, inshallah, over the past few weeks, because I know we did have a few, and I do want time to go through them. So bear with me a second, because there were quite a few. I'll get through as many as I can, and any questions that come through today, I will answer them as well. So the first question that we did have was a mental health question. So I do want to say that if you are struggling with anything to do with your mental health, then it's really important to get professional help. It's something that I know can be a taboo in so many people's homes still, especially because mental health isn't something that you can see, but it is very important that you get the correct help. If you go onto the website, British Muslim TV // support, I'm sure it will come on screen, inshallah. But it's you can find all the resources and places that you can get support. But so the question was about, if you are struggling mentally and you're isolating yourself from your family, what is the best way to go about that in a way that is aligned with Islam? So the thing is, we need to take advantage of our support networks. I know at times we can feel very isolated because of mental health issues when you're struggling with something, but I do want to say that you do not need to struggle with this alone. Often people feel like they bring Islam into it and think, no, I need to ask Allah for help only, and that's it, I don't need people. But the truth is, Allah's created us to need people. Allah's created us to take support from people, to seek comfort in other people, our relationships, whether it's our spouse, our parents, our siblings, our friends. It's important that we do get support from people, because that is in fact a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I do want you to really keep this in mind, because people can bring Islam into it. If I really had full faith in Allah, I wouldn't need to go to people and ask them for support. No, we should go for people for support, because that support is a blessing from Allah. If you have that support, don't turn it down. Now, if you don't have that support, then go out of your way to look for support. Sometimes we don't see that Allah helps us through other people, whether that can be for a neighbor who will take care of your kids for you for a couple of hours so you can get some rest and recharge, whether that is through your husband who's willing to help you out so you can do something that you enjoy. I know that mental health issues are still a huge taboo in so many homes, but it's really important that we speak about these matters so that we can get over this taboo and put ourselves first, make ourselves a priority, because Allah wants that for us. Allah doesn't want us to suffer. Allah doesn't want to punish us. He doesn't want us to suffer and not do anything about that. He wants us to do something about that. Use the resources. we have different resources than people had many years ago, and it's important for us to use them and take advantage of them, and then thank Allah for the resources that He's given us. So whether that's being able to go online and find somebody that can help you, whether that is booking an appointment with your doctor, whether that is getting support from friends and family, whatever that is, you're never stuck. There is always a way. So please turn to Allah, ask Him to open up doors for you, and go out there and look for something that can work for you, inshallah. Don't go through it alone. Don't isolate yourself thinking that you're going to be a burden on people. You'll be surprised that, you know, people will get reward in helping you. And that is something that Allah will deal with. Allah will handle that. Allah will give them their reward, inshallah. So hopefully I can answer more questions after the break, and I will catch you all soon and answer the rest of your questions. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, and welcome back. Just before the break, I did touch up a little bit about mental health, not isolating yourself and going out there looking for support. I know for some people that may be hard. I get that. For people, it may be a huge struggle, especially when you've been suffering for so long and you can't see a way out of it. So my first advice for you is think about all the things that could be possible for you. It's not that you have to go do all of them straight away, but just think about it. Allow yourself to open up your mind and think about all the things that could be possible for you, even if it's not possible right now. And then explore each one and ask yourself, could this be possible for me? Could I make this work? Okay, the truth is, we live in a world where we have to take responsibility for ourselves. We do have taken responsibility for ourselves is huge, because at the end of the day, we are all accountable with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if you are in a place where your mental health is stopping you from praying salah, you can't get up and pray anymore just because you're so drained and you just don't have the enthusiasm, the motivation, then we need to find ways to make our salah easy for us, make it something that we enjoy doing rather than seeing it as something as a chore. I know this is the reality for some. We don't talk about it because it's scary to talk about. Imagine telling someone that I don't pray salah anymore, then we're scared of judgment. But the truth is, so many people don't pray their salah. And as much as this may be the advice that people don't want to hear, praying your salah is something that, you know, I can sympathize with you. I can say, yeah, I get it, it's so hard, take it easy. But these things, Islam has built these things into our religion, like for example, salah, because Allah knows that's good for us. So like I was saying at the beginning of the episode, often we want things that aren't good for us and we don't want the things that are good for us. So think about salah. Salah gives us discipline. It allows us to switch off from the world. I'm not saying, you know, don't go for any of the support, don't take medication if you need medication, because all you need is salah. But what I am saying is that these small things can really have an impact on your mental health as well. Now, imagine if you can commit to one thing, which is your salah, every day, 5 times a day. You're doing your wudu, you're standing up on the prayer mat, you're facing the qibla, you're saying the words of Allah, you're reading the Quran, you're reciting the Quran, you're praising Allah, Allahu Akbar. You're connecting with Allah, you're making dua after your salah. All these things, imagine now if you can do them consistently, then it actually shows you what you're capable of. You actually are a lot stronger than you think you are. And you're doing it solely for the sake of Allah. So when you do that and you muster up the strength to do that, then imagine what Allah will make possible for you. Often we can say, I don't have time, I'm drained. But we need to make time for the one who created time. I get that things can be difficult. I get that you may feel overwhelmed with your priority list. But I'm saying we have to start somewhere. So let this be your start. The truth is, living in this country, I will say this to people I work with, to people that I know, that we are at a small disadvantage because things are so fast paced, especially if you are going out to work, coming back, looking after your family, cooking, cleaning. It's not like we live in a country where everybody, it's the norm. Some people do, alhamdulillah, they have a lot of support and a lot of help, and they have people to help them with their day-to-day activities, but not everybody has that luxury, so it can feel very overwhelming. So often what we need to do is reprioritize what is important to me right now. And if your salah and your deen isn't at the top of that list, then we may need to reconsider what we are prioritizing and where is the long-term benefit in that. Because I promise you, when we can stay consistent with small things for the sake of Allah, Allah will open doors for us. So I know this is about mental health, getting support, but I did want to bring that in here as well because it can help you. I promise you, when you feel a sense of achievement. Yes, I pray my salah for the sake of Allah. I done that 5 times a day. I could stay consistent. You will feel proud of that, and you will be able to, Allah will give you that strength to so that you're able to do other things, and you can maybe step out and do other things that you may not have realized that were possible for you before. It starts somewhere. I promise you, it is an accomplishment. And I know we live in a world where missing salah has become so normal and people just don't pray anymore. But the truth is, it is a huge part of our religion. It's one of the 5 pillars. One of the 5 pillars of Islam is our salah, and we can't just miss out that pillar and think, oh, well, no one does it anymore. It's not as important. I go to work, I have all these other priorities, because at the end of the day, none of those priorities are going to help us in the grave. And none of those things are going to come save us in the hereafter. Whereas the salah will. I'm telling you, it does really good things for you mentally. And the salah isn't something that you just rush and we just think, I need to tick it off my checklist and I need to get through it. It's something that you're going to have to really learn to practice being present in. And I was in a talk the other day, and the ustada, the teacher, she was saying that we have the amazing word Allahu Akbar, because Allah knows that we are going to our mind is going to wander in our salah. Allah knows that already. Whenever we're praying, we start thinking about, oh, did I leave the food in the oven? I need to pick up the kids from school. I've got this to do. I've got this errand to do. Or I had a good idea about what I'm going to work on next. We have so many racing thoughts. That shaitan does that to us. Whenever we try to do something good, shaitan will start making us think about everything else. And so in this talk, the teacher was saying, she goes that we have, after every action, whenever we're going to the next action, so when we're going from qiyam to ruku to sujood, we have Allahu Akbar. We say Allahu Akbar. Now what that does is it brings you back. We sing Allah is the greatest, and it brings us back to focus on being present in our salah. Amazing. Sometimes, I'm sure it's happened to lots of us, to many of us, that we're praying our whole salah and we've read our whole salah and we do our salam, like, what did we actually read? Because we're so distracted. So practice being present in your salah. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because it does tie in with you mentally as well, your mental state. Looking after your mental state is an act of ibadah. Staying present in your salah will help you to stay present in other activities. When you are with your children, for example, if you're with your children, you may struggle to stay present. You may always be fearing what's going to happen. What do I need to do? If I take them out, then this, we live in a very scary day and age where we're worrying about so many things, and we're worrying about finances, and we worry for our children's future. That what that's doing is it's robbing us from actually being present in the moment. So practicing these small things like being present in salah can also help you out of salah as well. Being present, because being present is such a beautiful blessing, because we're enjoying and we're being grateful for what Allah has given us right now, instead of worrying and fretting about what's going to happen tomorrow or what's already happened. Have you ever been in a situation where you sat there and you thought, when I had, maybe it was a social gathering, and you're sitting there thinking, what did I say? Should I have said that? Did that come across as wrong? And you go around and around for weeks on end or days, days after days, and you're thinking, oh, like, did I say the wrong thing? So when we do that, we're actually robbing ourselves, and that could be time you're spending with your friends or your family members or your husband, your partner, and it's robbing you of the enjoyment that you're having in the moment. So another little tip for you all is let go of the past. No, let go. Okay, it's okay that you felt okay, maybe I should have learned from your past, of course, learn from your mistakes, but don't hold on to it. Always ask Allah, Allah, guide me. Okay, I feel like I've done this wrong. Guide me the next time. Guide me through this. Learn from your mistakes. And also the future. There's no point worrying about the future because Allah's already planned everything. Yes, some concern is good. Some worry is good, where you're not just your tiny camel. You're not just living every day like there's nothing going to happen in the future. There's no future, because obviously we should ensure that we are setting ourselves up for success, inshallah, in this world and in the hereafter. But I'm talking about worrying, constantly worrying, thinking, oh, is Allah going to provide for me next year? What's going to happen if? Do your part, tie your camel, leave the rest to Allah. I see it so much because, especially with the price of things going up, with so much uncertainty in the world, people are losing jobs left, right, and center. It is a scary. I get it. It's a scary world, and I'm not surprised. We had like a pandemic, and the people's health isn't great. We have illnesses everywhere. I'm not surprised that people are struggling so much with their mental health, men and women, and men as well. They find it so difficult to speak up about it because they feel like they always need to be strong and they always need to show face, and they can never have a moment of weakness. Of course you can. Of course you can get support from your family. At the end of the day, your family are there we're there like a family unit. Your support circle is so important because, if without a support circle, where do we find comfort? Where do we find peace? So yeah, I'm not surprised that the state of the world is that everyone's in this constant state of worry, even when they're okay right now. A little trick that I do when I catch myself thinking too much about what's to come is I ask myself, am I okay right now? Right now, in this moment in time, am I okay? And I think, yeah, alhamdulillah, I've aired today. I'm fine. Even if I had a little bump in the road or something didn't go so well, I'm still okay. I'm still here. I'm still alive. I'm still healthy. And that's because of Allah. Allah's taking care of me. So if Allah's taking care of me right now, then what's stopping Allah from taking care of me in the future? Even though there's uncertainty, Allah knows what's happening. Allah's not going to be like, oh, there was a pandemic or there was this happening or that happening. I'm going to stop taking care of this person. I can't deal with taking care of this person anymore. Allah will take care of everything in the most beautiful, perfect way. And yes, this is in Jannah, so we will struggle at times. Expect that we're going to struggle at times. But that doesn't mean that Allah will keep us struggling forever. Or even within that struggle, like I mentioned, there may be goodness in that for you. Sometimes we don't see it. I was speaking to a person who lost a mother, lost a father due to COVID. And they were really struggling. Then the partner lost his job, and she was like, it's really difficult for me to stay hopeful right now. It's really difficult to see the goodness in this, what that Allah wants for me. I'll catch you all after the break, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, and welcome back. So just before the break, we were talking about the need to escape. And then later on, she came to me, she goes, I see it. All this time, things were going so well for me. Like everything was going so well for me. But it's only now when things were starting to fall apart that I really spoke to Allah. I was able to humble myself in front of Allah. I was able to turn to Allah, ask Allah every single day. Never have I woken up for tahajjud so so regularly, so consistently that, I wake up to Hajj just because I need to pray to Allah. I'm like, see, within, like, yes, you may have had so much going for you, but through this, like, you actually become close to Allah. When you become close to Allah, you're becoming a friend of Allah. Allah's got your back. Allah does, and sometimes we can't see. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but we do need to trust that things are going to fall into place. So this is a really, really important practice to put into place, because not only will you see the impact on your mental health, you'll start seeing the impact on your relationships. I'm big on relationships. You will know this. I talk about relationships nearly every single episode on this because of how much of a huge impact relationships have on our life. But do we even benefit from our relationships anymore because, like, the way we're meant to? Because we're so busy thinking about, we're on our phone. The phone. We're with our husband or with our wife, and we're sitting on the phone, checking the news, reading Facebook, looking at this YouTube video, aimlessly looking around. We're not taking advantage of our support network because we're always in that mind frame of, I need to escape. Escape what? We're so used to escapism. Anytime we feel slight discomfort, anytime we just can't bother dealing with something, instead of working through it, we pick up our phone because it's just become so easy. It's become so simple. But what this is doing is that people are becoming less equipped with the skills to deal with real life situations. That's the truth. People just want to escape everything that comes their way. You got a deadline. You procrastinate, you pick up your phone, I'll get back to it. This goes for so many people. It could be the person who's studying for their exams. It could be the person who knows they've got enough job applications. It could be the husband who knows that his wife is really looking forward to spending time with him, just doesn't have it in him. Too tired, don't want to. He rather not get up and freshen up and say, okay, let's spend time together. But that's hard. So let me just ignore her need, because it's easier to do that and just pretend that, brush it under the carpet. That's what not being able to be present has done to us. Do you see how it's damaging us? Allah has beautifully created our religion, so we have so many of these things like salah, making dua, where we can connect with ourselves, we can be present in the moment. This is why, alhamdulillah, we have this, and we need to take advantage, use our religion to our advantage. Alhamdulillah. So inshallah, we'll answer any other questions. I know I went into that, there's quite a few layers to the mental health question, but I did want to bring up those topics just because I see the impact of letting go of your religion and letting go of your relationships and just going towards escapism, your phone, TV, Netflix, whatever it is, engaging in some retail therapy because it makes you feel good for a couple of seconds, and not really taking advantage of the real resources that Allah has blessed us with, and that is our support network, our religion, our salah, all of those things. So hopefully we can take heed on that. If this is benefiting you, share it with others. You never know who it can help. We see this a lot in relationships, and some of the things that have come to my attention over the years that I've been working with couples and, in family units, is the need to escape your reality, and constantly escaping your reality and not dealing with what life gives you in a mature, healthy way can get you numbing your emotions. It can get you having unhealthy coping mechanisms. In this day and age, there's so many things. For example, just at the top of my head, pornography for men and women. Number 2, drugs, smoking weed, going out the house and just and feeling the need to smoke with your friends. So many things I can think of, but these are just some common things that have become so detrimental to families, and a lot of people think, which is crazy. Okay, this is the part that a lot of people think when they find out that their partner is watching pornography, let's say, or he is talking to, I'm saying he here, but it could be either way, or he is talking to women online, or he's just scrolling on social media, liking pictures of girls. That's actually, he may think, yeah, I'm doing that because my wife is not good enough for me. He may be saying that. That's not the truth. That is really not the truth. He's saying that because he wants to make excuses for his bad behavior. Yeah, I'm going to say it very, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, because this is what happens. I've seen this happening. I've seen these excuses being made. No, the truth is, you're not dealing with life circumstances, and you rather make yourself feel good about yourself by watching pornography or chatting to girls online or liking pictures of half naked females. This is the reality. Going out and smoking with your friends. These are things that are happening in Muslim homes daily. Honestly, these are things that are happening. So many people come to me and say, this is the problem I've got, and I'm trying my best to keep him happy, but he's still doing this. It's nothing to do with you. This is because he likes to feel good, and he's not going out of his way to get a healthy dosage of dopamine. Simple things like going for a walk, eating good food, taking care of yourself, exercising, reading a book, like finishing tasks. Now what we have is people not getting a healthy hit over that, because we live in a world of instant gratification. Young people, not even the young and old people, like, honestly, it's so common for both, are like, it's too difficult for me to have a good relationship with my wife. It takes long, it takes effort. Of course it does. Nothing good comes without effort. So what happens is they turn to pornography. Feels good. It's quick. Doesn't take long. Do you know what I'm saying? And then and by the way, this could be either way. I'm saying men here, but literally it could work both ways. And then when it comes to the wife or the partner wanting real intimacy, connecting deeper, they're like, they struggle because they're so used to instant gratification. It becomes frustrating, or anytime you're dealing with a situation at home, at the end of the day, husband and wife, especially the relationship between husband and wife, things can trigger you, things can get you upset. Your wife may say something, you may say something to her, she may have asked you to do something that you don't want to do. For example, small things, she may have asked you, can you look after the kids? Well, and you're maybe like, you're tired and you don't, instead of communicating, feeling, talking about, understanding and coming to compromises, you just you go blank, you numb out your emotions, and then you go out and you smoke weed, you take drugs. This is what's happening, because that gives you
you feel good. It makes you feel good for that moment in time. And this is what's becoming scary, the need to escape. And this is how, it has a huge impact on you, because how many people, think about it like this, how many times are we struggling to get small tasks done? We struggle to get small tasks done now because we want things done really
quickly. Yeah. So one of the things I will say to a person like this is that you really need to evaluate your life and make lifestyle changes. Find joy in small things. You don't need to turn to extremes. You can feel good. People don't feel good anymore about doing things like getting fresh air. It's too hard to get off the sofa and go outside. People start tasks and don't complete them. People aren't consistent anymore. Even come back to praying salah, it's hard because nobody feels, it's over time with salah, you feel the peace over time in your life. But it's hard to stand up and pray because you feel like, oh, well, this wasn't instantly making my life better. See the problem? It all ties in, and this is why people are really struggling mentally. There's depression, there's anxiety, because we need to bring back balance and restore balance in our lives. Our religion is such a balanced religion, taking care of yourself mentally, physically, your heart, your relationships. All of this is so important, and I really hope that whoever's listening to this today takes heed and thinks about all the time in their life, in their current situation right now, where they stop feeling joy, and how we can bring back feeling joy in our life, being grateful for what we have, and really watering our own grass instead of neglecting and always thinking that the grass is green on the other side. I know today was a bit of a heavy episode, and it's a lot to think about, inshallah, but these conversations, we need to have them more openly. I know this is on TV. I don't know who's listening to this today, but whoever needs to hear it hears it, inshallah. And if you are listening to this and you think that it can benefit someone else, share it. Share it on your socials, share it with others that may need to hear this. And I really, really pray that we can start paving the way for healthy relationships with ourselves, understanding our emotions better, whether you're a man or a woman. So important. Connecting with Allah on a day-to-day basis and respecting ourselves and what we have going for us, reaching out for support, never isolating yourself. There's so many things, asking Allah for guidance in our day-to-day activities. These are just some of the things that we have spoken about in today's episode. And I hope that Allah lighten our affairs and brings ease. And I shall catch you all next week, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Allah, ya Allah.